Thanks, man.
Most people play games. I spent years breaking them. Let's look at why I think gaming today is kinda weird.
Oh my god, you're making me so nervous.
This isn't a hate video about streamers. I don't hate streamers and I don't blame them. Streaming is their job. They need content, they need viewers, they need the engagement. I completely understand that. But I do think something weird has happened in gaming over the last few years. First, there was Doom. This game was awesome. My friends and I learned how to connect all our computers together. Yeah, that meant we actually had to bring our whole PC setup to whoever's house we were doing the party at. Yes, a party. LAN parties, baby. If you know, you know. Let me see you in the comments. I was introduced to online gaming with a little game called Quake, the same team that did Doom. And I loved this game. And it had an early online multiplayer feature, which was my first taste of playing with players who weren't actually sitting next to me on a couch. And right around that moment, I realized I was a shitty mouse and keyboard player. From there, many online games started to pop up, like Unreal Tournament, Counter-Strike. These two were game changers in my opinion. But I still sucked with mouse and keyboard. But online play was my jam and I was hooked. Then we got the first Call of Duty Online. And well, the rest is kind of history. Call of Duty Finest Hour came out on PlayStation 2 and I was ready. Yes, I'm a control player. I grew up in the arcades. I'm way more comfortable with the controller. And I've used every form of a controller that has led us to the ones we use today. Now, from where I'm sitting in 2026, it feels like the streamers have become some of the most influential people in gaming. Maybe even more influential than the average player. This isn't based on research or statistics, it's just something I've noticed from actually playing games, being a tester for as long as I have, and looking at how live service architecture shifts. To me, it feels like streamers have become the loudest voices in the room, am I right? And because they're the loudest voices, it kind of feels like the developers listen to them more than they listen to the regular players. Whether that's actually true or not, it almost doesn't matter because I think that's how a lot of the players perceive it. And that perception completely changes how we log in. The average player gets home from work and maybe has a couple of hours to play? Meanwhile, a streamer has already spent so many hours testing everything, finding the strongest builds, discovering the fastest farms, and creating guides. Suddenly, their way of playing becomes the way you're supposed to play. Not because the game says so, but because the internet says so. Then, the fear of missing out starts. Every other video is, do this now, farm this before it's patched, best build in the game, you're wasting your time if you're doing this. Before the players even log in, they already feel behind. Instead of asking if they're having fun, they're asking if they're playing the game right. That's the part I find interesting. Somewhere along the way, a lot of us stopped experimenting. We stopped discovering things for ourselves. As a video game tester, my entire job for over 10 years has been making mistakes, breaking shit, and learning how a system reacts. But in the wider community, it feels like players have stopped wanting to do that. Instead, we wait for somebody else to tell us what's good, what's bad, what's broken, and what's worth our time. Then, when a game changes, the cycle repeats. If a streamer doesn't like the update, suddenly the videos start appearing. The devs don't know what they're doing, the game is dying, the update ruined everything. Thousands of players adopt the same opinion before they've even touched the patch themselves. Eventually, a new game comes along and the creator moves on. Again, no judgment, that's their job. They follow the next opportunity, they just want the BBD, the bigger, better deal. But the players who bought into all the hype are often left standing there wondering what happened. Yesterday they were told the game was the best game ever, today they're being told it's dead. I'm not gonna lie, I have actually caught myself feeling this way in the past. Maybe you have felt that artificial pressure to play a certain way. If you have, let me know. Or maybe you're like I am now, still out there running your own builds and trusting your own experiences. If any of this resonates with you, maybe consider subscribing. I love hearing other gamers' stories and experiences. What fascinates me isn't the streamers or even the developers, it's us. Somewhere along the way, many of us stopped trusting our own experiences. It's like we started outsourcing our opinions. We wait for someone else to tell us if the game is worth playing, if a build is viable, or if we should be excited, angry, or disappointed. Maybe that's the real streamer meta. Not a build, not a strategy, not even a tier list. An entire culture where people play the game first and then tell us what we're supposed to think about it. Maybe I'm completely wrong, maybe I'm just getting old. Back then, There were no streamers telling me how to play a game, or shouting from a thumbnail that a game was dead. I had shows like Video and Arcade Top 10, and I had my Nintendo Power subscription. The gaming community was just players helping players, sharing their own journeys. It felt amazing to be a gamer. Now, I miss when communities discover things together, instead of having every meta solved and optimized before launch day. The real question isn't whether streamers have too much influence. The real question is, why did we give them that power in the first place? I don't know. These are just my thoughts from what I've observed over the years, but I know I'm not the only one seeing this. Remember, I can't tell you where I've been, but I can tell you what I've learned. Have a good one, gamers, and I'll see you in the next one.